Hi, guys, and welcome to the Truth Factor, where we do headlines with an attitude. We have a few headlines today. Have a few headlines there. Just wanted to get them out to you. I know there's been some more hostages released, and a lot of things about the banking system. And it's kind of global disasters in the waiting, I would definitely say. And so I think the next few weeks could be very interesting. Anyway, so let's cover these articles. I hope everybody's enjoying. It's kind of a dreary day here. A little rain, just not, not the best of days, but it's another day God gave us, right? Anyway, God is good. Let's get into these headlines. Hi there, Watchman. How are you? I don't think I have an article for Iran. Did you hear something going on in Iran? Hi there, Helen. I haven't really heard anything per se taking place. Let's see. We'll search here in a second and see if there's something new taking place. Hi there, MG. How are you? All right. There's that. Anyway. See. Iran, Times of Israel says Iran-backed Iraqi militia says it joins a truce with Israel and will reduce attacks on U.S. forces. Well, isn't that just mighty nice? Iran is suing a newspaper for publishing morality guard documents. And Senator Cotton says a massive retaliation against Iran is needed to end attacks. Go figure. Maybe that's why they're deciding to reduce attacks. I don't know. The New York Prepper guy says explosions near a nuclear plant in Iran. Let's see. Let me see if I can find that. Iran explosion. Learn how to spell. Okay. Jerusalem Post. Yep, November 26th. Okay. All righty. Yeah. Thank you, Watchman. I didn't catch that one. It was actually on the Jerusalem Post. I used to check Jerusalem Post. I kind of veered to Times of Israel here lately. But let's get into these articles. I do have this one. I'm going to share the link because this is not in the lineup, but we will pin it in. Hello, Daryl. How are you? Buffering. Imagine that. It's not buffering on my end. I can see I'm freezing up a lot, but not buffering. If that makes any sense, because I'm watching myself on another device, and so I'm freezing. Imagine. I've gotten so much popular. People just love me so much, right? I'm just such a threat these days. Called jealousy, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. But looks like I'm frozen. Okay. Yeah, I'm not frozen now. There's a massive delay. So, but frozen nonetheless. Frozen. Can you say frozen? Yeah, Indiana weather is yucky. That's why I said it's a dreary day here. We have some rain. I'm freezing a lot, looks like. Am I freezing on you guys? It looks like I'm freezing over here. I don't know if it's my internet or if it's just frozen here. If it's me or what. I do have some interesting articles to put out. Let's see. Buffering. Hi, Daryl. Am I buffering on anybody else? I seem to be doing a big freeze. I mean, every now and then it comes back in. Okay, looks like it might be good. Okay, do a restart. I look like I'm okay right now. We'll say okay is in, 2 minutes like 2 minutes or 2 seconds later, I could be frozen again. I don't know, but right now we're not frozen. So that being said, not buffering for you. Okay, great deal. I was frozen on my other device, so it could be just this area. That's how come I like to ask, because we've had issues here in the past. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into these articles. I'm going to share the screen out so we can go ahead and not waste any more time and get into these articles. I will share this article, as I said. You're delayed a little, audio and picture good. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Miss Helen. Thanks. So let's share this article. I'm going to share it. I think I already copied and pasted it. Copied it anyway. I haven't pasted it yet. There we go. Okay, so there's explosions heard at a nuclear technology center in Isfahan, Iran. Explosions were heard at a nuclear technology center in Isfahan in Iran on Sunday morning, according to local reports. And it just says this is a developing story. And this is reported from the Jerusalem Post. And so that's what we got here. And that's not much more than that. If anybody else has anything lengthier article, that is what I've got so far. But there is that article. So then we are going to go ahead and get into the rest of these headlines that we have here. If I'm doing any kind of delayed buffering or anything over to that nature, my apologies. It is, I'm going to chalk it up as weather related because it is kind of dreary here. But anyway, we have this from Hal Turner. Bank books 149 trillion equity swap due to expire. Settle on December 15th. I don't know why I said Seattle. Maybe something's going on in Seattle. A bank in Europe has on its books an equity swap valued at 999 trillion, 999 billion, 999 million, 999,000, 999 euros, and 999 euro cents, with a listed notional value of 0.15 or 15%, making the bank exposure approximately 149 trillion euros, expiring on December 15th. Where will they get that money to settle? The screenshot below shows the exact parameters of the uncleared equity swap coming due December 15th. 99 bears, right? That's what it sounds like, right? Okay, so here we can see the timestamp and all this right here, right? That's what they're talking about, the 12/15 expiration date. Here's the equity swap perimeter right there. Okay, their basket. According to Google, an equity swap is an exchange of future cash flows between two parties that allows each party to diversify its income for a specified period while still holding its original assets. According to the Wikipedia, an equity swap is a financial derivative contract where a set of future cash flows are agreed to be exchanged between two counterparties at a set dates in the future. The two cash flows are usually referred to as legs of the swap. One of these legs is usually pegged to the floating rate, such as the LIBRO. This leg is commonly referred to as the floating leg. The other leg is the swap, is the based on the performance of either a share of stock or a stock market index. What? This leg is commonly referred to as the equity leg. Most equity swaps involve a floating leg versus an equity leg, although some exist with two equity legs. Meaning, I guess you really don't have anything except for, oh, mercy, the stuff that they do, right? If you and I did that, we wouldn't get very far, would we? Anyway, equity swap involves a notional principal, a specified duration, and predetermined payment intervals. Equity swaps are typical, traded by Delta One trading desks. Example, parties may agree to make periodic payments or a single payment at the maturity of the swap. Bullet swap. Take a simple index swap where party A swaps 5 million, pounds at the LIBOR plus 0.03% called the LIBOR plus 3 base points against the 5 million pounds, I guess, here. In the case of party A, we will pay party B to a floating interest rate of that 0.03%. Plus the 0.3%, the 5 million notional, and would receive the party B any percentage. The FTSE equity index applied to this 5 million pound notional. In this example, assuming the LIBOR rate at 5.9% VA and swap tenor of precisely 180 days, the floating leg payer equity received party A would owe 5.9%. 7% plus the 0.3%, and the 5 million 180/360 is 150,000 to the equity payer floating leg receiver party B. At the same date after the 180s, if the FTSE had appreciated by 10% from its level at trade commencement, party B would owe 10% of that, equaling 500,000 pounds to party A. If, on the other hand, the FTSE at the 6-month mark had fallen by 10% from its level of trade commencement, party A would owe an additional 10%. Wow, guys. 500,000 to us since the flow is negative. For migrating credit exposure, the trade can be reset or marked to market during its life. In this case, appreciation or depreciation, since the last reset is paid, the notional is increased by any payment of the floating leg payer, or decreased by any payment from the floating leg payer. Guys, this is kind of confusing if you ask me. Anyway, it sounds Chinese, even though it's in English here, guys. Oh, goodness sakes. We've got applications here. I'm not going to read this, but we're going to go down here to his analysis. Now, obviously, this is just his analysis, not mine, but I don't have enough knowledge of how this payer system works or doesn't work, or how they do all this. So without really trying to do a lot of, investing a lot of time to figure out how this all works right now, we're going to just go with what he's got here, right? Anyway, he says, so if he understands this correctly, at the expiration of the equity swap, both parties have to square up, with one paying the other the difference in the value between what the items were worth when the swap was set up and what they're worth now, or paying the interest on the notional value of the swap. On the contract valued at the 900, whatever, I guess that's trillion, with the notional value of 0.15, the bank seems to be facing making good on 149 trillion. And as such, it seems to be there's some gigantic sum of money at stake. Perhaps this is why a large bank in Europe has allegedly begun denying withdrawals by depositors. Are they now hoarding the cash to try to make ready for the settlement? What if? Now, guys, this is a what if. This is not gold. This is not anything like that. Let's see. What does Watchman say? Watchman is saying the credit cards could be signing your soul away and people would still sign. Yeah, it could be. Absolutely. What if the large and well-known European bank cannot square up? How does the banking system deal with the failure involving the 149 trillion in derivatives? I noticed the expiration date on the screenshot above shows December 15th. That's a Friday. How convenient. What happens to the banking system on that day? What happens over the weekend? Do the banks even open on the following Monday? It seems to me that something this large cannot be contained to the one bank involved. It seems to me such a situation could have an installment impact all over the planet, the entire global financial system. What might the impact be? What will happen to your money in your bank when this deal settles? He's got some supplemental thoughts at 11:46. Obviously, he's been thinking about this a whole lot. He's been thinking about this much of the day. There's a date on the screenshot. The event timestamp says that says January 19th, 1970. I researched that date and found nothing of significance. Then I wondered to myself, what if the screenshot above the large European bank is fine for that bank, but not fine for the counterparty? What other entity may face its day of reckoning on December 15th with the equity swap expires? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong party to this swap. Maybe the bank involved will make out like a bandit and someone else will be hit. Or will that someone else default and hit the bank above and everyone else? Too many unknowns, which leads me to the reality that this big shots have known about this date since at least the publication date shown above as March 3rd, 2021. Could this gigantic transaction have anything to do with all the aggressive actions of the US, the EU, NATO against Russia, which leads up to Russia sending its army to Ukraine a year later in February 2022? Certainly it has been the US and the West in general that has pushed this because they want World War III, he says. Whose birthday? Oh, your birthday's December 14th. Woohoo. Well, December 15th could be a very interesting day, it looks like, maybe. Anyway, could this particular gigantic transaction be unwind the entire global economy? Is that why the West has been pushing for war with Russia? So they could blame the war for failure of global finance, smashing of the banks. It is quite clear to me that Russia-Ukraine conflict continued, and despite all the red lines being crossed, Russia did not resort to action, which would cause the war. I now wonder if that could be the powers that be needed something else. So is that something else why Israel and Hamas thing was that set in motion? Perhaps to cause regional war in the Middle East and blame the financial collapse that's coming on that war. Or maybe I'm just totally wrong about all this being a global impact event. One thing is for certain, if I'm right, and he has a sneaky suspicion that he is, we can only say, well, there's a lot of stuff happening. Whatever is going to happen over this must happen within the next 3 weeks. Hang on, folks. We could be in for a rough ride. Now, guys, I want to tell you that before this article, there's this other article, and I'm going to show you the article. And I kind of said to the people that I shared the article with, I kind of told them, buckle up, it's going to get rough. From this article, okay, from this here article, I said, buckle up, it's going to get rough. And so, and it could indeed, it could be an indeed, kind of a crazy day, right? Yep. We have indeed been warned for years about the 72 hours for bank crash. Yes, indeed. We have. So we have from Hal Turner, China's Zhongzi Bank declares severe insolvency. China's major shadow bank, Zhongzi, declares a severe insolvency with a 36 billion shortfall, signaling liquidity problems in the 2.9 trillion Chinese shadow banking sector. Known for real estate investments, Zhongzi attributes the deficit to internal management issue, facing operational risk, internal management issues, embezzlement, Ponzi fictionings account. The crisis further highlights the instability in China's real estate market, raising concerns of a possible contagion effects to other banks and to the banks in other countries like the USA. Why did we know that that was going to come this way, right? Why? Anyway, I just tell y'all, we've been saying this, be ready for anything. Nobody but God knows exactly how everything's going to play out. But you can definitely be, if you're paying attention to these headlines, you can see kind of where this is going and plan accordingly. At least I hope that you are. If you can anyway. So that being said, and then here is his updated article that there was proof that the DTCC did delete the UBS bond cusp numbers, and it's just a number actually. But earlier this week, he reported about that. Yep, on the 22nd. Anyway, so he's able to now report that at least one of those deleted cusp numbers is, and anyway, and to disregard. Anyway, here's the letter, the deletion, deleted cusp numbers. The leader underwriter should be contacted for any updates, issues. Please disregard any receive and deliver instructions. So this bond just disappeared. So as mentioned in the previous article, the UBS is the largest bank in Switzerland and has offices in the countries all over the world. The earliest story outlined the UBS has failed to deliver bonds that were supposed to settle on November 22nd. And so then, you know, you take this with all this other banking information, and you just know that it's not going to get good, guys. It's just, you know, it looks like we could be in for, you know, a really bad time. Anyway. All right, guys. So then we also have from Hal Turner, the second and third Israeli-owned cargo ships grabbed by Yemen in the Red Sea. Now, guys, I'm not going to continue too much, just a little bit on this. A group calling Ansar al-Yemen has seized the Israeli Zim Hafi ship seen in the file above. This is the second vessel seized by Azrael. In addition to the Zim, the Houthi rebels Yemen seized another container ship in the Red Sea sailing from Israel to China. That vessel was originally reported to be the one shown in the file photo below, but the vessel navigator charts show it to be off the coast of India. Anyway, so here is this article. We're going to jump now to an article from, I believe it's Zero Hedge, because we have U.S. Navy responding after the militias seized the Israeli-linked oil tanker off of Yemen. Another suspect piracy incident is unfolding, this time in the Gulf of Aden, off the coast of Yemen on Sunday, as multiple news agencies are reporting that an Israeli-linked oil tanker has been boarded by unknown militias. The emerging headlines have surprisingly thus far had little observable impact on oil prices at the moment of a growing security concern and fears of international shipping in the Mideast and Gulf regional waters. At least 22 crew of the Liberian flagged Central Park managed by Zodiac Maritime are now believed to be held hostage, the Associated Press reports. The attackers seized a tanker linked to the Israeli off the coast of Yemen on Sunday. Authorities said while no group immediately claimed responsibility, it comes as at least 2 other maritime attacks in recent days have been linked to the Israeli-Hamas war. If done by the Houthis, this marks the first such piracy attack from Yemen during the Gaza truce, which has successfully held, which went into effect on Friday. The AP further reports an American defense official speaking on condition of anonymity to discuss intelligent matters also confirmed to the Associated Press that the attack took place. Ship manager Zodiac Maritime described the seizure as a suspected piracy incident. U.S. naval forces appear to be en route, given the U.S. defense official was further quoted as saying, U.S. and coalition forces are in the vicinity, and we are closely monitoring the situation. After an unknown number of unidentified armed individuals seizing the ship, maritime and private intelligence firm Ambry said that the U.S. naval forces are engaged in the situation and have asked vessels to stay clear of the area. Below is what is known as become known as so far as the vessel ownership. And we're going to just skip down here. Given the location, the recent hostilities, the Iran-linked Houthis out of Yemen are the prime suspects for this newest ship hijacking.
This marks the second commercial ship hijacking since the start of the Israeli-Hamas war. The Houthis on November 24th seized the Israeli-linked shipping vessel. 25 international crew members hostage. The Houthis' military leadership previously issued a declaration of war and have since launched several missiles and drones towards Israel. Anyway, on Friday, another Israeli-linked shipping vessel came under attack shortly after leaving the United Arab Emirates in the prior weekend incident. So here we have of what it looks like and what's being reported as a situation that Navy has responded to these militias. And I guess you just know that it was a matter of time before somebody come to the rescue, right? Or at least try to anyway. Hi, Miss Carol. How are you, honey? Okay, so now we also have from Times of Israel, 14 Israelis and 3 Thais have been freed from Gaza today. Let's see, and that's really all it says. A dual U.S. citizen, Abigail Iden, 4 among 9 children freed. Hamas says it wants to extend the truce beyond the initial 4 days. Residents of Kfar Azanal Oz rejoice as the loved ones are freed. And that's really all that we got. One of them had to go to a hospital for assessment, or 3 had to go to the hospital for assessment. Okay, there we go. Which that's always wonderful to hear, right? That's what we've been praying for. Okay, so this here, I mean, if you guys, some people may have been here during the time that we were covering, I can't remember what bill it was, but there was a bill that kind of laid out some of the things that would be coming to us, like greenhouse carbons emissions, I don't want to call them, I guess, investigators, I guess we'll call them. I don't want to say, police, in other words, where they could, come to your house and inspect and make sure that you're not giving off too much greenhouse emissions. You're not giving out too much emissions. Okay. So they're trying to lower everybody's carbon footprint. So here they're talking about how this could really endanger your travel, restrict your travel. And that's what this article is about here, guys. And it's a pretty good article. I'm going to let you guys, I should have put this down in the bottom of it, but we'll cover just the italic, I guess, because to me, this is pretty important for people that like to travel. It says there's carbon passports, a personal carbon emission that limit will become the new normal as policy and people's values drive an era of great change. Conscience and budgets permitting, we feel free to hop on planes from one place to the next, but this will change. On our current trajectory, we can expect a pushback against the frequency with which individuals can travel with carbon passports, set to change the tourism landscape, says Raymond Martin. Personal carbon allowances could help curb the carbon emissions and lower travel's overall footprint. Anyway, it looks like you're going to have a passport for just about anything and everything, guys. And this is, by 2040, according to this. But, and this is what they suggest individuals should currently limit their carbon emissions to. And this is 2.3 tons each year. This is what they're saying. The average usage is 16. And this is what we're over. 13.7. That's a lot, guys. Yeah, I don't see it happening, but we'll see. I guess that's why they're pushing so hard. There's so much in the food chain thing going array. If you don't have the access to regular food, you'll have to eat the bugs, right? Maybe that'll change. I don't know. But anyway, just want to scratch your head, right? And people thought it was going to get better, right? Then we have from End Time Headlines, WEF backs the UNESCO push to regulate speech on social media, pushes its own toolkit, digital safety and border to snuff out hate speech and cyberbullying. Well, of course, how else would they market it? Here's the UN, at least those who have their ultimate say in the organization's overall agency's agenda. And here's the World Economic Forum supporting the activity wholeheartedly. Has something gone right this time? Spoiler, well, no. But do read on because knowledge and the context are truly important. The educated guess is there will be many more of these instances of social media censorship schemes coming down this particular pike. And what better than to recognize them for what they are as they do come. There's this, the UNESCO, that's the UN agency that used it to basically sell you Christmas, New Year's Day postcards to help children in distress suddenly waking up to misinformation, and now directly supported by the WEF. What a shocker. WFF is glad that the UNESCO of agencies has come up with what it calls the Internet of Trust and the informal globalist Switzerland-based group. WEF, though, is also happy to reiterate what those guidelines are. The WEF is flagship global elitist outfit with no apparent qualms, leading with the devastating fact that more of the people on this planet have access to the internet, social media, that to say a car. But this is not seen as a problem, merely an opportunity to subjugate or kick down those already in distress. So you don't have a car, you can't afford a home perhaps, but you do have a phone. Now let the WEF tell you what you should think. That's pretty much the gist of the entire elaborate article. Anyway, oh mercy, guys. You could see they're going to push and push and push till they control what you say, pretty much, and where you can go to listen to it and everything else, right? Anyway,
why don't we tell them where to go?
Why don't we? I don't know. I can't even begin to tell you. Okay. Now, the other day, there was an article that Hal Turner shared. And I told you guys that, myself, I can only speak for myself. When I find an article that sheds light on what has been reported, if it comes out against what was said, I will retract. So in his article, he said that there was a claim, and that's how he words it, was a claim that he was dead. Well, according to this article, the Minnesota Attorney General's office says Derek Chavin expected to survive after the prison stabbing. So, which that, in my opinion, is wonderful news. Nobody wants anybody dead. At least I don't. So here we have this article about Chavin sustaining serious injuries, but it does look like that he's expected to survive. So wonderful news, and I wanted to make sure that we got that retraction out there. Okay, this here is the For Your Eyes section, guys. I will show you these wonderful articles that we have for you in this section. There are really some amazing articles, but it's just a Sunday, and I really like to keep these streams relatively short, but this is what is Saudi really preparing for. And this again, guys, this is about oil, guys. This is one of those things that we really definitely need to be paying attention to, guys. And so this here is in this section here. We also have another article that we should, here's those iron beam lasers that are the future of warfare, and Israeli wants them and Biden wants to support it. And, yeah. We've got all the money, right? We have air money. We can play with air, right? These days, that's what they're playing with, right? I don't get it. If we can't manage the monopoly money that we play with, how are we going to manage air? Go figure. Anyway, I guess it's not so much about what you have, it's who has, right? Or who can control it per se. Anyway, we have NATO's proposed military shenanigan is a thinly disguised German power play over Poland. This is an interesting read, guys. I debated on reading this article, but again, is it, something that we really need to discuss here? I don't think so. I think that if there's a bigger play made, we might talk about it, but for right now, we're going to leave it down here in this section and you guys can take a gander at it. We also have Escobar. The eviction notice is being written and will come in 4 languages. Yeah, guys, this is about the UN and the BRICS and all that good stuff. This is a very, very good article, and I encourage you guys to read it. And then let's see. We also have from Zero Hedge, there are the top 50 largest importers in the world. And what do you know? What do you know? Who's at the top there? Who's at the top? Absolutely. The United States. Anyway, pretty crazy. Then let's see. Hi, Miss Mary. How are you? Zurich issues a digital bond using a wholesale CBDC. Anyway, so there's that digital money, guys. That's coming around, right? And then the gateway. This here's part 3. I think, guys, I only got to share part 2. I don't think we got part 1, but this is a follow-up to the stuff going on in Georgia. Anyway, that is what I have for you guys this Sunday. It looks like it's really late here, but it is not, guys. It isn't. And then we talked about, thanks to Watchman, we got to also share an article from the Jerusalem Post about an explosion in Iran. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for you. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed Sunday. And if there's anything else to report, I will report it. But I would say buckle up. I think that we could be in for a very bumpy ride, especially with the banking industry. So with the money situation, guys, let's be as prepared as we can. Don't be shocked if something happens in the next 2-3 weeks, right? Don't get caught off guard. People perish for the lack of knowledge, and that's why the good Lord gives us this knowledge, right? So that we can plan in advance. Anyway, how we can plan, I guess it's up to how God can use you and help you prepare. Anyway, God is good. And I don't know how we still have flies. Anyway, love you all, and we will see you later. God bless and bye. I got this fly over here.